Hey mages on the internet, Matt here from Total MTG and welcome to my channel today. Today we're doing a Pioneer video. And I know it's crazy, I only put a video up yesterday, but I'm actually loving making the content at the moment and I'm loving all the support you're giving, so I just want to say a big thanks to that. Smashing the likes and comment on the videos is just an amazing way and it just inspires me, as you can tell, because here's a video the very next day. And it was mentioned to me in a comment on a previous video here when I did the top 10 most popular Pioneer cards that some of them were out of date now because the video I did was in last November. And now there's obviously loads of new decks, loads of new cards featuring and stuff like that. And we've had some bans. Oko Broko was no more. So that is definitely one of the cards. And there was a little green instant that was absolutely amazing. A lot of people didn't like that band. You know what the card is. But today I'm going through the top 10 most popular cards currently in Pioneer. This will give you the price of the cards, and obviously also will tell you which decks they're featured in, and maybe you've got some cards in your folders that you're not using that you might be able to just pass on, trade on to other cards, because you're seeing how popular they are at the moment in this great format Pioneer. But without further ado, let's get on to the top 10 cards. So coming in at number 10 is Rest in Peace. As you can see, this is a great card. It's $5, which is still very cheap, but it is a sideboard card. But this is heavily used because of the way the meta is at the moment, so Rest in Peace is a very highly popular card. When it enters the battlefield, you get to exile all cards from all graveyards. If a card or token we put into graveyard, it gets to exile instead. And what's great about this enchantment, obviously with enchantments being harder to remove than say creatures or anything like that, it only costs 2 mana. Now, you're going to see this deck in sideboards of Niv to Light, Blue-White Spirits, Blue-White Control, Mono-White Aggro, and a lot of other decks that will just play white because it's great for them to come in to combat those graveyard decks. And at $5, you probably just need a couple in your sideboard, but decks like Niv to Light do like to play 4 in the sideboard. So, you know, they obviously have a weak game against graveyards and they need a Rest in Peace ready to help them out, shall we say. But Rest in Peace, number 10 in the most popular cards in Pioneer. The next card is one of my favourites, and when it was printed in Theos, I loved it. Sylvan Caryatid is just an amazing card. Defender, Hexproof for 2 mana. Add 1 mana of any colour, so it's going to help you in those multicoloured decks. As you can see from the featured decks, it does do that. Niv to Light, GOLGARI, SOULFLAYER, 4-colour Awaken, Ascendancy, and even Jund Food is seeing a bit of play in Pioneer now. And the Caryatid is very, very hard to get rid of. You're going to need sacrifice effects. It does have hexproof, and it's a great early blocker as well. $9, this card still fetches. It's amazing. It's using, obviously, Commander as well. And I love Caryatid. I always play this when I couldn't afford some of the higher mana costed cards that used to tap for mana, shall we say. Sylvan Caryatid was the one that I used to play in Modern, and there's no doubt I'll be playing it in Pioneer. Coming in at number 7 is Wild Slash. Probably one of the best instants for red in this format Pioneer. $4 for this uncommon. That obviously took a rise when Pioneer come out. Is it ENSOUL, Chonky red? Is it Phoenix, Mono red aggro? It plays with all the red decks because it's a great removal for 1 mana. If you control a creature with power 4 greater 2, damage can't be prevented that turn. It deals 2 damage to creature or player, so you can attack into a player or a creature. It's a very versatile card, and for 1 instant mana, I love it, and that's why it's heavily featured in not just these 4 decks, any deck that plays red. We have our first land in the list, and this is one of the newer cards in Standard, which is Castle Locthwain. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp, and, black is very heavily featured in Pioneer at the moment in the meta, and definitely in the decks. This adds for obviously 1 black mana, but for 3 mana, 1 double black, you get to draw a card, then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Now, when you're playing decks like Mono Black Aggro and cards like that, and Mono Black Vampires that you can see there's, 2 of the featured decks here, you will obviously sometimes just drop your hand, so you can just literally just pay that 1 life to draw a card, and that is really good. Even harder to deal with as well, Castle Locthwain. It's not like, enchantments are hard to deal with, but this is even harder. It's a land. People are going to have like Field of Ruins or Land Destruction in the deck to deal with it. $5, it is still a good standard card as well and heavily played in that. This might keep around the same price, but I've got a feeling it might drop down a little bit, but still going to be used in Commander and stuff like that. So $5, still a nice card, and it's definitely one of the most popular cards in Pioneer at the moment, and I think it will be for a while. The next most popular card is one of the most talked about Planeswalkers ever printed, Teferi Time Raveler. Still fetching $20 because it's played in every single format there is, not just Pioneer. Each opponent can't cast spells only anytime they could cast a sorcery. So if you want to stop your opponents playing Magic, this is the card for you. $20, like I say, played in Niv to Light, blue-white control, which is what I play it in. Fire's Super Friends is a super friends, super fun deck. BANT Spirits as well, of course. It's a great Planeswalker. It's just 3 mana with 4 loyalty. You can plus it, you can bounce stuff with the -3 and then draw a card. It's really strong. A bit oppressive, some people think, but it's what blue and white does. It really is. And Teferi Time Raveler, until they maybe ban it, I really don't think they will. It will stay one of the most popular cards in Pioneer. Now we get to some of these black cards, because there's so many great mono black decks like mono black aggro, mono black vampires, and you can see this is played in DIMIR control and GOLGARI SOULFLAYER. $6. Fair price for this card for what it does. You get a 2/3 creature with lifelink. You can destroy target creature or planeswalker. You lose 2 life with Swift End. It's versatile, totally versatile, and is played in every type of deck that runs black, because it not only can just be a creature that can block stuff and then obviously gain you life as well, which is what control decks like to do. It can destroy creatures and planeswalkers as well. It's like that downfall effect. I just think it's a cracking card. It is actually the top creature. It is the most popular creature in the format as well, and it hits in the spell section as well because it's just so good. SOULFLAYER, Vampires, DIMIR control, aggro. Any deck playing black will play Murderous Rider, and obviously you know if you play Standard how popular this card is in there. It is going to be a staple for quite a long time. Down to the top 4 now, and we come to probably one of the heaviest played cards in sideboards in Pioneer. This is definitely one of the most popular. It's Mystical Dispute. A great price of $2.50 for such a good card. It targets those blue players, but blue players will play it as well to target other blue playing decks. So Niv to Light, which is one of the most popular decks around at the moment, so it's featuring a lot of these cards. IZZET ENSOUL, blue-white controlled, obviously, blue-white spirits, $2.50, great uncommon card. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue spell, so it costs 1 blue mana. And then you counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Great spell. I love it. I love the art in it. I just love everything about Mystical Dispute. And even if you're not a blue player, putting this in your, it's just, you just got to see how good this card is. But even if you splash blue, you're going to have this in your sideboard, because playing against those control decks, it will be a battle of the disputes. Down to the top 3 now, and it's our next land that's in there, our second and only land, and it's Mutavault. $21 for this card because it does a lot. It adds 1 colourless mana to your mana pool, paying 1 that becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types. It's going to help any sort of tribal decks. It's so good, and obviously it's still a land. Mono black aggro, IZZET ENSOUL, blue white spirits, chonky red even plays Mutavault. I was very surprised about that. Very surprised. Plays it sometimes as a 2 of or as 3 of. But $21, it's always been an expensive card. And this is actually cheap for how it used to be. I remember it once at like $40, $50. But obviously getting some prints and stuff. I think it was a featured promo at one of the GPs as well. So there was a lot more floated around then. But Mutavault, great land, seen in all different manner of formats. Not just Pioneer. And is one of the most popular cards being played at the moment. Down to the top 2. I bet you can guess number 1 once you see number 2, which is Fatal Push. Now, I've already spoke about how heavily the black decks are in the meta at the moment. And still for $5, this is a great card for $5. Destroy target creature if it has coveted mana cost 2 or less. Then you get the Revolt, destroy it if it has coveted mana cost 4 or less. If a permanent you control left the battlefield. Seen in all formats. Pioneer is going to be no different. This is played if black has 4 ofs, down without a doubt. Mono black aggro, SOULFLAYER, DIMIR control, mono black vampires, Esper control will play. Anything that will play black will play Fatal Push because it's the best removal in that colour for 1 mana. Absolutely amazing card. And at $5, you're making a good investment if you haven't already got these. I've got quite a few in my collection. I'm very lucky. When this set came out, I just pummeled the set and I just ended up with loads. Sold a few when it was high, but I did make sure I kept a few play sets, shall we say. Fatal Push comes in at number 2. But what is number 1? Yes, you've guessed it. Of course, it was the same in November as well. It's Thoughtseize, and a whopping $45 Thoughtseize. This Theros card, target player reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You lose 2 life. Now, Theros obviously was the reprint, but that doesn't even help the price. It's still huge. Played in all the top decks in Pioneer, the Mono Black Aggro, SOULFLAYER, Stompy, Vampires, Esper Control, DIMIR Control. It will be played in everything because it's that good. When you see how good, cards like Fatal Push are, and they're at, $5, which is really good, you can see the power of Thoughtseize. $45. Now, that is because it's played in other formats as well, but no one likes to see a turn 1 Thoughtseize played against them, which is why it's the most popular card currently in Pioneer. So these are the top 10 cards, a little bit of finance for you, letting you know where these cards are in the decks. I really hope you like this video. The last one that I did this was so popular and you really enjoyed it. I like doing these videos every now and again as well. So please show us some love, give a comment in the videos. I'd really like to see it, and obviously a like. And if you're new, hit the subscribe button as well. I will be doing some more Pioneer videos in the future because I know they're very, very popular. But the new standard set obviously just come out, so I've been chucking loads of videos for that because it's very, it's very new at the moment, Theros Beyond Death. But I will not forget about my Pioneer fans out there, so don't you worry about that. Anyway, thanks a lot for taking the time to watch the video today. You lot take care, and I'll see you on the next one.